how our people think, see what kind of conclusions we can get. Like, share, subscribe. Do it for me, do it for you. To John Lennon, absolutely adored, idolised worldwide. A man of peace, a man of progress, a man of love. And he was obviously the founding, one of the founding members, probably the main member of the Beatles, which is surely the most famous band of all time. Not the best band, in my opinion, by a million miles, but they were in the right place at the right time. They made some good music and they became extremely famous. And then John Lennon had a very successful solo career. Millions of people love his music. I'm not one of them. I personally am not a Beatles fan. I'm not anti-Beatles. If I'm in your house and you put it on, you put it on. But I'm not a fan of the Beatles and I'm not a fan of John Lennon. Now, what's the problem with John Lennon? Well, frankly, the problem with John Lennon is that he was an absolute fake. Total fake. He was an extremely violent man. Okay, he came from post-war Liverpool. Very poor, very hard, very tough. And he could fight and he liked to fight. All right. Many people, many young men especially, go through that. And then they grow up and they get tired of it. But he turned his attention to punching women. And he was married twice, and I forget the name of the first wife, but he used to beat her brutally. She was the mother of his son, Julian, and he beat her brutally. And at the same time, he was having an affair with Yoko Ono. And she knew he was married, obviously. I don't know if she knew about the beatings, but she certainly knew that John Lennon was married and that he had a baby, Julian. But she continued that illicit affair with John Lennon. And then John Lennon took a load of drugs one night and told his wife about Yoko Ono, got kicked out, and now he's living with Yoko Ono. And they set themselves up as some kind of moral compass for the world. Well, really? You're a wife beater, and this is your new girlfriend who has affairs behind other women's backs. I'm not really sure that I'm accepting you guys as a moral compass. And then he started beating Yoko Ono. And he was vicious with her. He was brutal. To the point where the people closest to Yoko Ono say that she had a miscarriage. She lost a baby because of one of the beatings that John Lennon gave to her. Which is terribly sad. That's a terrible, terrible thing. But, I mean, the fact that he was violent is not in question. He admitted it himself. He admitted to beating women. He said, I'm an extremely violent man. And it's always the violent men that talk most about peace. John Lennon said that. And he was also a fake hippie, which got him killed. Because, and I'm not condoning this in any way, but he used to have these love-ins. You know, he's in bed with Yoko, and it's all flowers and duvets and, you know, we want peace. And this is where we're staying until we get it. But then when the cameras were off, he was up, he was out of that bed, he was getting dressed, and he was going out at night around New York in a limousine, chauffeur-driven limousine. What kind of hippie goes around New York in a chauffeur-driven limousine? And so Mark Chapman, the guy who killed him, he went to New York to find John Lennon because he was his idol. He was his own personal hero. And when he got to the Dakota building where John Lennon lived, which is palatial, and he saw John Lennon walking out of the Dakota building and getting into his limousine and all that, and he was devastated. He says, this is Mark Chapman said this, because Mark Chapman, you have to understand, like many of these assassins from the 20th century, was obsessed with a book called Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger, which is all about a boy called Holden Caulfield who grows up to discover that adults are fake, and that growing up and becoming an adult means learning how to be a fake. And so when he was confronted with the reality of John Lennon as he saw it, he made the decision to wait for him to come back. And when he did come, and he did come back, and when he arrived, Mark Chapman pulled a gun out and shot him, I think 5 times. I'm in no way condoning that. Mark Chapman was mentally ill. And he killed a man. That's horrible. But to me, it just always antagonises me. Taking that aside, always antagonises me when I hear John Lennon singing that "Imagine all the people." Well, imagine not beating your wife, John. You know, imagine that, and then do it. So yeah, I don't like fakes at the best of time, but not high, especially not high-profile multi-millionaire fakes. So yeah, I've got more feelings about John Lennon there. Domestic violence has always been a serious problem. Don't put it in a context. It's always been wrong. So we'll leave John Lennon for a moment, leave him alone. I'm getting antagonised.